offshoot of Rob's topic, I think I mentioned it a bit in terms of the charges of voter fraud, right, across the country. And that was one of the things that a lot of the states that flipped for Biden, they were talking about voter fraud, that the election was a fraud. But as we know, there was no documented proof of voter fraud in 2020. The election was fair, it was equal, it was justified, right? And so now, what some Republicans are doing to seemingly prove that there is voter fraud is that they're committing voter fraud. Right? So I have this young lady, her name is Kim Papa. She was an official in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and she was charged this week for voter fraud. She allegedly sent military absentee ballots that she faked to a Republican member of the state legislature who supported overturning the 2020 election. And her excuse was, I did this to show how easily it is for voter fraud to seep into an election. So
What?
the panel is,
So stupid.
is this proof that fraud is a thing? Or is this proof because she was caught and she was fired, so she's no longer in election? She was fired and she's been charged. So is this proof that voter fraud is a thing? Or is this proof that the system actually works?
Let's start out with Gianni. Is it proof?
Ooh. Okay, I think that this is proof that the system works because she was caught. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's so stupid. It's like fighting fire with fire. What's wrong with people? But
But that tells you how they think. I mean, it tells you, as Lizzie say, the
sick.
cognitive abilities of these people.
Yeah, it's a little slow. I think, but no, I agree. I think that it is proof that the system does work. It is interesting how she was able to do that, but luckily it was caught. That, I'm sorry. I can't with this video. I can't with this topic. It's horrible.
What do you think, Rob?
Oh yeah, I'm with you. It's the claim that she admitted to the officials, to the investigators, that she was attempting to highlight flaws in the absentee voting system. But really, Kim? Really? No, you're
Kim.
trying to rig the system, and this is part of the problem. Like, make sure you get out and vote so that the right people are overseeing the process. Because in the wrong hands, there's someone just say, "Oh, that's 3 more votes for our side." Yeah, count them up. That's cool. That's cool. You need to have the right overseers in play. So I'm glad that Liz brought this up. And yeah, I'm with Johnny 100%. This is proof that the system works because they nabbed her. Yay!
So
Craziness.
I wonder, did any of you guys notice, as much as the Republicans swear up and down there's voter fraud, that it's 90% of the time it's the Republicans who are the ones that are
doing
cheating?
it. Yes, it's the Republicans
Wow.
doing it. It's the Republicans
You
that are doing
do
it.
notice that. You do notice that.
I mean, so I mean, it makes sense that they believe, that this is rampant, because it's what they would do, right? It's like a boyfriend constantly accusing his woman of fucking around, but it's mostly because the boyfriend is the one fucking around.
Gaslighting. Yes.
I mean, it's like, I just don't understand. I don't understand the thought process sometimes.
You mean messing around, don't you?
I mean, fucking around.
Oh, you're killing me, son.
You
Not
too.
messing. Emphasis.
I'm just saying, it's it's kind of a shame. What were you gonna say, Gianni?
No, I wasn't. I was just laughing at what you were saying. But I think that when it comes to is that what the electional, what did you call it? The election, where they like suppress voters. What is it called?
Voter suppression.
Like,
Voter
oh,
suppression and the redistricting where what Neo was talking about earlier, where they've just basically moved the lines around to make it easier for a demographic
But
to get out and
voter
vote.
suppression. I
Certain
mean, a
people
good
to vote.
example is like they were talking about. I think this was in Arizona, that they actually I don't know if it was a law or they went to court for it or whatever it was, but there was a couple or a bunch of people who were going to the ballot boxes with like AK-47s and standing out the ballot boxes, claiming to be
Oh my
ballot
gosh.
watchers, right? And so that's exactly an example of voter suppression. I mean, if you see people standing around and you're trying to do the voting and you're trying to do early voting and do the ballot boxes and all that stuff, yeah, they're suppressing that vote because they're making sure that people aren't going. I
They're
see on
discouraging
I
people.
see online we have V, and V said it's equally important. Inflation over democracy, and it's sad. She also said voter suppression. Yeah, it's an awful thing. Um,
So that was going to be, can you guys hear me? I'm back for like 2 seconds while I try to fix this horrible microphone and camera. But that was going to be my next point. So notice how none of the Republicans, when they talk about voter fraud,
mhm,
they never bring up the history of voter suppression in this country and how it's still going on, how it's still affecting the elderly, it's still affecting people in low income communities, in minority
Mm-hmm.
communities. They never want to
Mhm.
bring about that. They never want to talk about that. They never want to talk about voter intimidation, how elderly people are being turned away at the polls,
mhm.
telling them, "Oh, your ID is invalid. Oh, your ballot, you missed it. You didn't fill out your ballot correctly." Or they're shutting down a lot of polling stations in certain neighborhoods,
Neighborhoods.
making access to voting very difficult for certain people. So if you're going to talk about voter fraud, you also need to talk about that too. And you would think in a democracy, you want as many people voting as possible. But it seems that these Republicans, they're like, no, too many people voted in 20. So we got to change that. We got to change that. That's not a good thing.
Yeah. V on
Yep,
Instagram
that's
also
true.
says it affects minorities the most, especially when voting polls are closed.
Mhm. And Olivia on YouTube says, we don't need another walker. And she also said that 21 was pretty important with, some wine glasses, some happy emojis, some beer.
21
Wait,
was
what,
nice.
21? You talking about the year 21?
Age
Um,
21.
Age 21. All right. V also says Trump wanted people to stop voting. Yeah, he did. And
mhm.
Kevin Thaxton said gerrymandering. All right. Lizzie, was there anything else you wanted to address? you look,
No, I think
it's weird.
She's ready.
You look like Pam Grier from that view. It's like you look like you're in the 70s.
listen, I'll take that. That is a compliment. I
Right.
will take
That is
that.
actually
Damn
sweet.
straight, that's a
I would
compliment.
Foxy Brown. I
Yeah.
will take that.
You Foxy Brown it up in here.
I'll take it.
All right, final words, Lizzie.
No, no. I final. This Yeti microphone is fucking up my camera, so we won't be using that anymore. But I think we hit the nail on the head with all of the topics, involving the midterms, but also, what voter fraud really is in this country. It's only voter fraud for the Republicans when they don't get their way. Notice how
Mhm.
they talked
Mhm.
about, it was a selection, but they only meant the Biden winning being stolen. Like a lot, they never really contested all of the Republican senators and the House of Representatives who won in those elections. It
Yep.
was just Biden. They were on the same ballot, right? Right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
We see y'all. We see y'all for who you are.
She said we
So
see
is
y'all.
this truth, lies, shenanigans, or
Truth, lies,
bullshit?
shenanigans.
Bullshit.
Oh, I got a bullshit one.
I declare
Bullshit.
shenanigans, but
I'm
the
on
system
all.
got her.
I'm all about the shenanigans right now. All about the shenanigans. Johnny, what'd you say it was, Johnny? You said I declare shenanigans.
That- Like
Bullshit.
South, it's like South Park. Get
Bullshit
your broom. I
shenanigans.
declare shenanigans. Get your brooms.
B on Instagram says, tell your friends and family, even when they don't want to hear it, vote and vote. Let your voice
Yep.
be heard. Yes, 100%.